Day 13, and we set sail from Mooloolaba on a gorgeous morning, got ourselves through the bar and headed up the coastline. With a wave to where friends and family live along the coastline, on our way to Double Island Point, which was about 48 nautical miles up the coast. Good sailing conditions along the way on a gorgeous day had us turning the bend and anchoring alongside the other ARGO cat around 11 hours later. The plan was for one night there before crossing the Wide Bay Bar, but swell and conditions for the bar crossing were not favourable at all, so we waited it out for 2 days, enjoying the fruits of the sea while we waited. Day 15, we decided the conditions were good enough to go for it to the bar. So we up-anchored and made the 2-hour trek across to the bar entrance. Conditions were not as calm as we would have liked. We've done a separate video on the full crossing, and the link will be below if you want to watch the whole thing. Considered one of the 5 most dangerous bars to cross in Queensland, as we reached the Wide Bay Bar, we braced ourselves for these conditions.
Yes, thank you. We are also approaching our entry point to the bar. We are half a mile out, and we'll also be in contact with you when we get to the other side. Over. So we're just making our first turn into the Wide Bay Bar, which is a left turn from the ocean. And I'm looking out for the lead light showing us the way to come in. And I've got my eyes on it now. It's a flashing red. I'm waiting for it to change to a white light. The swell coming through here now is probably, there's the white light. So I'm just adjusting my course to come around. I just want to hold right here. Interestingly, with the lead light, I'm slightly off course. We're running at about 2,300 revs on the engine, and we're doing 6 knots. We've got big surf on the right-hand side over there, and we're coming into surf on the left. Now I can see the lead light on Inskip Point, which is a solid red at the moment, so we've got to keep going on this line until that starts to flash red, and then it will also go white, and that's when I turn directly towards it. The swell is coming in on our rear port quarter, which is not too bad. I'm flashing green now, so I've got to come left. Okay, now we've got white again, which is good. And we're going to follow Elsie, which is the other boat, in. Some sizable swell coming from behind, and that same swell I can see is breaking waves, even starting to break 150 metres off our port side. I'm going to ride this. Just increased our revs to 2,500. Now we've had to turn left. We're going very much across the swell now, which is a bit more uncomfortable, but just necessary. Coming in a bit quicker and a bit closer to those breaking waves. Still doing 5.5 knots. This is the washing machine that we're in at the moment, so it's very sloppy.
Oh, that wave was massive. Hard to explain how big these waves are. You film it and you can't notice it, but they're big. They're not breaking on us, which is really good. But it's not a comfortable place to be sitting here at the back and watching them come up like that. But I'm trying very hard here to be brave.
All up though, we're still pretty comfortable here. The occasional steep one that comes through and sends us a bit sideways, but...
Big one.
Yeah, I gotcha. That's very steep, that one. A little bit of braking on top, but comfortably over. So these conditions were predicted to be 2.2 metres to about 3.1 metres. And they would be at least that.
They're starting to break on our port.
Sure. Certainly more eventful than the last time we came. But very good experience also.
They call it the Mad Mile, and they're not wrong, but in a 38-foot cat, we've been able to get across fine, a couple of swear words in there, a little bit of hand sweaty for me, but otherwise a reasonably good run. So those sort of conditions we know that now we can manage. I don't know that I'd want to go through with any higher swell, but that was a pretty good run.
Coast Guard Tin Can Bay, go ahead.
Tin Can Bay, this is ARGO Rego Golf Echo 390Q, and we are through the bar. Thanks for your coverage. Over.
Romeo that. Do we trip? Coast Guard Tin Can Bay out.
With the bar crossing complete, we stopped for a few days at Elbow Point, just north of Tin Can Bay, for a breather and to celebrate the chocolate rabbit. headed up the Great Sandy Straits to our next anchorage, South White Cliffs. You can see how shallow it is right here in the middle. It's well marked by the channel markers, so we've just gone through past the greens here and about to round past Gary's, which is just up here on the right. You can sort of see it out over there, and then we're going this way, which will take us out through Sheridan Flats and then hopefully on to our next anchorage. So we've just pulled up stumps here between channel markers S30 and S26. Just before we get into the Sheridan Flats, we heard a radio message that it silted up a little bit, so we just wanted to make sure there was a little bit more high tide coming through before we navigate through that. So we're here, some pretty little palm trees there. So we'll have a fish and wait for a little bit more tide to come in, and then we'll keep going on. So you've got a green marker here, so we're going in towards Urangan, so the green is to your port. Right in the distance around here is a red marker, which is what we need to be aiming for. But directly in front of us, there's also a red marker. So, I mean, obviously you're watching your navigational charts inside, but if you're coming through here and you're not really paying attention, it would be quite possible to see that one in the distance here and go right over this shallow part, which is what it looks like he's doing. But he's not. He's just getting around this marker and then aiming for the other red one. But yeah, you could come unstuck quite easily and hit this shallow if you weren't coming through at the right time of day and find yourself in a bit of a pickle. Last time we came through here, there was a 50-something foot, maybe 56, 58 foot monohull that had come unstuck right at this marker. He'd gone on the wrong side of it, disappointingly for him, and was high and dry on his side and waiting for the tide to come back in. So it's a very shallow little spot, and that's one to look for, is that marker there, which is S24. Our stop at South White Cliffs was a bit uneventful. We were just pleased to have a gorgeous sunset. So the next morning we took off up the channel to Big Woody Island. We thought we'd have a couple of restful days here, but alas, not to be. Our batteries are still causing us some grief, and amid our 50-hour engine service, Jace noted the filters were the wrong size for the new engines. So we took the chance to dash into Urangan for a quick part, provisions and voting opportunity.
We're just motoring now from Big Woody Island around to the Great Sandy Straits Marina to go and get some spares and a few other things, but also to try and investigate a little bit further the problems we're having with our house battery charge. Those batteries were replaced at Mooloolaba about a week ago because the marine electrician who looked at it seemed to think that those batteries were towards the end of their life and not taking a full charge. So on his recommendation, we've changed those out, but now we're seeing the same low voltage indicators from the new batteries that we had with the old ones. You can see on the screen there, which is our battery monitor, it's currently sitting at 86% because our engines are going, and charge from the alternator is going through to the start batteries, and it's not the correct terminology, but in my understanding, the overflow from those start batteries then goes into the house batteries, which is what we're seeing there, 86%. And that's gone up very quickly from, I think we started out at 76 this morning. So in quick time, we've gone up almost, about 10%. But I don't have a thorough, I don't even have a minor understanding of electrics and how all of this works together. I'm very ignorant of all of that, and I need some guidance from somebody who knows of what we're going to do. It appears as though, from what I can see with the Victron battery monitoring system, that the batteries are not going through a full cycle of charging, where it's not getting to that float stage. So overnight, the charge of the batteries is getting down to 12.1 volts. And as I understand it, a battery in good condition, without extra charge going into it, shouldn't go below 12.6. We are also now getting other low voltage alarms and other devices, which is corroborating the fact that we've got a problem. So I don't know what that is. We are getting one of the DC to DC chargers overheating and shutting down, which is a good indication that it's something to do with that. But that doesn't explain to me when the engines are not running. Like all day yesterday, we had a sunny day and we were back to 100% of charge by about 11 a.m. And for the rest of the day, we're sitting on 100%, but our voltage still slipped down very quickly back down to 12.1 again. So, and when that's happening with the solar creating energy for us, the DC to DC chargers from the alternators are not working at all because the engines aren't running. So even with a full day of sun, we need to work out why we're not getting that full battery charging cycle happening like it should. I don't know. If we can sort that out, I'll feel much, much better about where we go from here.
Then we dashed back to Big Woody Island before the gorgeous sunset. Tomorrow we head out to the bay of Hervey Bay itself to see what all of the fuss is about up there. We're looking forward to seeing more of this part of our great state.